What's going on, everybody? My name is VladimirCR, and welcome to my Veterans Day special for 2018. Now, I would normally be playing a game or something like that, like I believe last year I played Battlefield 1, and that's fine and that's great. But I was thinking to myself the other day, what exactly do most people know? Now, again, Veterans Day, I'm celebrating Veterans Day in America, so our reasons for Veterans Day might be a little different from our friends from across the pond or somewhere else, if there is a Veterans Day celebration for your country. Now, so I was wondering, again, to myself, I was thinking to myself, you know, we celebrate Veterans Day every year, and a lot of people, like myself, I believe last year I said that I was a veteran, and I am, and I was in the Navy for about almost 6 years, and unfortunately I got a medical discharge, and so I can't exactly go back to it. So I was thinking to myself, what do we really know about Veterans Day? You know, what do we really, you know, what are we celebrating? So I was thinking to myself, what better way to celebrate Veterans Day and to honor Veterans Day than to do a couple of Veterans Day quizzes. Now, you guys may see that I'm using my screen to capture just a couple of different web pages. Some different names may pop up on this, like AARP, and a couple other ones. And I just wanted to make sure everybody knows that I am not sponsored by any of these people. I am literally just doing these quizzes for the sake of informing us all about Veterans Day and why we celebrate it. So anyway, we're going to do a couple of these quizzes, and we're going to see how much we know about Veterans Day. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I'm probably going to not do too well. I know I'm probably like the worst veteran ever, but just like I said, I probably don't know that much. But we're going to find out. And besides, we can all use it as a learning experience if I am wrong. So anyway, without further ado, first question of 10. How many veterans are there in the United States? If I had to guess, I would say, and it would be a complete guess, let's go with, I don't know, 32 million. 20 million. That was my first choice. I should have gone with my first instinct. Excuse me, as always, for the sniffling. I apologize. My allergies are crazy. Anyway, 20 million. There are more than 20 million war veterans in the United States, according to the Department of Veterans Affairs, or the VA. Veterans Day was originally known as, I want to say this one was originally known as Armistice Day or Remembrance Day, one or the other. Let's find out. Yeah, Armistice Day. Veterans Day was originally known as Armistice Day and was meant to honor the nation's World War I veterans. Armistice Day officially received its name in 1926 through a congressional resolution and became a national holiday in 1938. So that was one that I've heard it before, but it was also kind of like, it was like 20% a guess, and the rest of it was knowing it. So next question. Veterans Day is celebrated on November 11th because that's when the Treaty of Versailles, which ended World War I, was signed. Woodrow Wilson picked that day from a list of recommendations. Congress wanted the holiday to fall between Labor Day and Thanksgiving, or none of the above. Shoot, I remember hearing about the Treaty of Versailles, and I honestly didn't pay attention a lot in history, and looking back on it, I kind of feel like I was wrong about that. But anyway, so we're gonna say that's when the Treaty of Versailles was signed, and we're wrong, of course. None of the above. World War I, which was known at the time as the Great War, officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed on June 28, 1919, in the Palace of Versailles, outside Versailles, France. Fighting had actually ended 7 months earlier, however, when an armistice between Allied nations and Germany went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11th, 1918, is generally regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. If only it were that simple, unfortunately. Who first proposed that Armistice Day be renamed Veterans Day? I'm thinking, that sounds like something Harry Truman would have suggested. We're going to find out. Nope. Dang it. I told you I'm like the worst veteran ever. But anyway, Alvin J. King is apparently who first proposed it. And in 1953, Alvin J. King of Emporia, Kansas, proposed that Armistice Day be changed to Veterans Day to recognize and honor American veterans of all wars and conflicts. King came up with the idea after his nephew, John Cooper, was killed in action during World War II. So that one was definitely one that I got wrong. So, and I'm assuming that's Kansas, by the way. I really don't know. I would think that they would just use KS. I think that's Kansas's abbreviation. But anyway, next question. Veterans Day officially acquired its current name in 1958. We just learned that, right? Or, well, that's when he suggested it. 1954. In 1954, at the urging of veterans service organizations, Congress amended the 1938 law that created Armistice Day by striking out the word armistice and inserting in its place the word veterans. With President Dwight D. Eisenhower's signature, the legislation became Public Law 380 on June 1st, 1954. I do enjoy learning things about stuff, and like I said before, guys, I am the worst veteran ever, so please don't hold any of this against me. What flower is a symbol of Veterans Day? I want to say it's a poppy. Yeah. The story begins with the famous poem In Flanders Fields, which a lot of us here in America read that. I don't know where other people read it, but I think I read it in maybe, shoot, I don't know, 3rd or 4th grade maybe, I think. So it's been a little while, but I do remember that. Was written by John McCrae in 1915. In Flanders Fields the poppies blow, between the crosses row on row. In 1918, Moyna Bell Michael, on reading McCrae's poem, pledged to always wear a red poppy as a sign of remembrance. Her idea spread, and in 1924, the Veterans of Foreign Wars launched its Buddy Poppy program to help disabled and needy veterans. It's a good thing. At least someone's looking out for veterans. Pardon me. The motto of the Department of Veterans Affairs is, "To care for him who shall have borne the battle." Who originally wrote these words? This one's going to be a guess too, guys. I'm sorry. Like I said, worst veteran ever here. That language doesn't sound too modern. And I'm sure it's not. You know what? We're going to go with Abraham Lincoln. I don't think it's right, but... No. Yeah, because, yeah, there was the Civil War. Let's try it. Yeah. This line, or the line, is from the final paragraph of Abraham Lincoln's second inaugural address, which he delivered on March 4th, 1865, as the nation braced itself for the final throes of the Civil War. Now, fun fact, and I think I may or may not have mentioned this before, I was actually born on March 4th. So that's actually kind of interesting, and I'm glad that I got that one right, even if I did have to guess at it. So anyway, next question. What patriotic song debuted in its current form on an Armistice Day broadcast in 1938? God Bless America. Yeah. In 1938, with the rise of Hitler, Irving Berlin dug out a song he'd written in 1918 for an Army camp show, changed a few lyrics, and renamed it God Bless America. On November 10th, Kate Smith sang it as the closing number on an Armistice Day edition of her immensely popular CBS radio show. In short order, it became the peace anthem that Berlin had wanted it to be, and Kate Smith's signature song. Awesome. Which of the following is not true? National Veterans Day observance is held annually at the Arlington National Cemetery. Flags fly at half-staff on Veterans Day. The original purpose of the holiday included a 2-minute suspension of all business activity at 11 a.m. Many restaurants and businesses give discounts to veterans. I would say that flags flying at half-staff or half-mast on Veterans Day. I think that one's wrong. Because this one right here doesn't seem like it would fly nowadays. The original purpose of the holiday included a 2-minute suspension of all business activity. I don't think that would fly nowadays. So let's see if I'm right. Probably not, but we'll see. I am correct. Veterans Day is a time set aside to celebrate and honor those who have served in the armed services and is therefore not a day to fly flags at half-staff, a symbol of mourning. Awesome. One more question on this one. How many of the 45 U.S. presidents have been veterans? Wow. That's a good question. It's either 28 or 31, I think. Let's go with 28. Nope, 31, of course. While the Constitution designates the President of the United States as the Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Armed Forces, only 31 presidents have entered office as veterans. No member of the U.S. Marine Corps or U.S. Coast Guard has yet been elected president. Yeah, I got a 50. Like I said, I am like quite literally the worst veteran ever, guys. Anyway, give me a few minutes. I'm actually going to find one more quiz for us to do because I don't think we've been going on for too long yet. I would bring it up, but I don't want you guys to see all the other nonsense. So anyway, stick around, hang on just a minute, and I'll find us another quiz. I'll be right back. Thanks. Sorry about that, guys. I got one more for us. It's 10 questions, and it's one that will actually explain the answers as well to us. That was the biggest thing that I was looking for, because I want this to be a learning opportunity for us. So here we go. Quiz number 2. Again, not sponsored by anything that you see up here. Anyway, what Revolutionary War hero portrayed on horseback is honored with a statue in front of Boston's Old North Church? Paul Revere. Been there, seen it. Correct. Bravo. On April 18, 1775, Boston's Old North Church entered the pages of history when sexton Robert Newman held 2 lanterns from its steeple. These lanterns signaled to Paul Revere, the man commemorated by the statue, that the British were moving on Lexington and Concord by sea and not by land. 1 if by land, 2 if by sea, remember? For those of you, again, that know any, the ones of you that have been taught American history. Next. When do we celebrate Veterans Day? Today, November 11th. We celebrate Veterans Day on November 11th. The tradition began in 1919 when President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed a national holiday to honor the fighters in World War I. Also, if any conflicting information is brought up or something like that, and for whatever reason I don't catch it, please let me know in the comments so that I can report back to these quiz makers that they have conflicting information. Like, for example, if this said that Veterans Day is on November 12th or something like that. That's kind of a big example, but anyway, like I said, if any conflicting information is brought up and for whatever reason I don't catch it, let me know so I can do some research into it and go back and try and submit some feedback on these quizzes to these people to try and help them clear up their information. Anyway, moving on. Which of the following American generals is well known for declaring, "I shall return"? Good question. George Patton. Dang it. So it was Douglas MacArthur. After leaving Corregidor Island, and relocating to a base in Australia in order to muster the American offensive against Japan, General Douglas MacArthur famously declared, "I came through and I shall return," effectively pledging to liberate the Philippines from the Japanese. Originally, the holiday we celebrate as Veterans Day went by what name? It's Armistice Day. We know that from the last quiz. Veterans Day was first called Armistice Day. Congress approved of the holiday in 1938 to commemorate those who fought in World War I. Later, a shoe merchant from Emporia, Kansas, named Al King, started a movement that successfully turned Armistice Day into the Veterans Day and expanded it to honor all U.S. veterans. Thank you, Al King. Which of the following is Audie Murphy not well known? The most decorated soldier of World War II, a successful American film actor, the author of To Hell and Back, and suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Is not well known. I know he was a decorated soldier in World War II. I don't know if he was the most decorated war soldier, but we're going to hit this and find out. Yeah, okay. In 27 months of combat, wow, Audie Murphy became the most decorated soldier to fight in World War II. Despite having success as an actor, writer, and musical composer, few people know Audie's post-war life as affected by what later came to be known as post-traumatic stress disorder. Post-traumatic stress disorder is really bad. All I can do is just suggest that if you know someone going through PTSD, try and... I don't really want to give out bad information, but just help them as best you can, because a lot of us, I don't have PTSD personally, but a lot of people suffering from PTSD are actually suffering, so just be patient and help out any way you can. Anyway, in what year did Congress officially rename Armistice Day, creating the nation's very first Veterans Day? We just saw this in the other quiz, and I cannot remember it for the life of me now. Was it 1954 or 62? We're going to go with 54. Yeah. Congress passed a law in 1954. I feel like that's conflicting information from the AARP website. I'll have to go back and watch the video and find out. Congress passed a law in 1954 officially renaming Armistice Day to Veterans Day. The law was signed by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. I don't think there was another one, but What 1968 battle marked the very beginning of the fiercest combat years of the Vietnam War? This is one I don't really know, but I've heard a lot about Saigon, so let's go with the first Battle of Saigon. Ah, darn it. It's the Hue Battle, or Hue Battle. What a part of the Tet Offensive, the Battle of Hue, or Hue, was one of the longest and bloodiest battles of the Vietnam War. The following years saw tens of thousands of American war deaths, as well as countless enemy casualties. Veterans Day is a national holiday, but it is also an official state holiday in how many U.S. states? I want to say all 50, but I feel like that's wrong. We're going to go with 18. I really don't know. I don't know much outside of Georgia. Yeah, that's what I thought. So 50. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay. Veterans Day is an official state holiday, as well as being a national holiday in all 50 U.S. states. Where did the signing of the surrender of Japan take place? Emperor Hirohito's palace, the USS Missouri, the Washington, D.C., or the USS Arizona? Pretty sure it's the Arizona. Probably going to be wrong, though. Dang it. The VJ Day signing took place on the USS Missouri. It is now permanently docked in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. The USS Missouri. I think I was remembering something that one of my family members told me, that my grandfather actually was on or served on the USS Arizona. I could be mistaken, though, so don't pay attention to any of that. I was a little mistaken, or confused, rather. Anyway, last question. Veterans Day began being celebrated in November, and we celebrate it in November today, but for how many years was Veterans Day celebrated in October? I think I saw this on another quiz while I was looking for this one, but I cannot remember. It's either 7 or 9, I think. Or no, maybe it's 0, because I thought that another one was... Let's go with 0, because I want to say it's July. Dang it. Okay, so 7 years. America celebrated Veterans Day as the 4th Monday in October for 7 years after the creation of the Uniform Monday Holiday Act in 1971. It was moved back to November 11th of 1978. So let's submit my answers and see just exactly how bad of a veteran I am. So technically, basically, over 20 questions, I got a 50. That's absolutely horrible. Oh, man. Shoot. Oh, well. Well, that will do it for this video, this episode. I just want to do something kind of quick to celebrate, or rather to honor Veterans Day, and to take the opportunity to really inform people, and as well as myself, clearly, about some of the history of Veterans Day and a little bit more U.S. history than some people may or may not have been exposed to. I'm sure that I learned 90% of that at some point in time, but unfortunately, it's been a long time since I was in school, so I've forgotten a lot of it. But unfortunately, or rather, thankfully, I can do things like this to help refresh my knowledge every once in a while so that I can really honor this holiday the way it was meant to be honored. So, anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys learned something, because I know I did. I learned, or confirmed rather, that I'm a terrible veteran. I'm also pretty bad when I trip over my words, but I already knew that, so anyway. And secondly, I wanted to be entertaining, but also informative, so I think I've achieved that with this video. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, tap the like button for me. It lets me know that I'm doing a good job. If you did not like it, tap the dislike button, guilt-free. Just let me know why you disliked it in the comments. And I hope that, again, you guys all learned something, and that I hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, evening, noon, day, night, whatever, whenever, wherever you are. I hope you have a good one, and happy Veterans Day, and hopefully I will catch you guys next time for the next video. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.